firstly, I think I would need to say thank you very much to SEAMEO SEN for inviting me to share some of my research and findings in terms of academic writing and academic writing in research, and specifically we'll be looking into the field of special education and inclusive education. All right, can everyone hear me well? Just a quick check.
Yes.
Yes, all right, thank you. I'm just gonna share screen.
Yes, it sounds clearly.
Yes, I can hear somebody saying, speaking, or is it not? Just an error. Okay. Um, is it working? Is it working? Hold on a second. Or can you share? Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yeah, I can follow you right now.
Yes? No? All right. Thank you very much for responding. Sorry, I'm just going to do some just check a quick checkup that you can see what I share. All right. So today we will do some workshop on academic writing for research in special education and inclusive education. I've been asked to talk specifically for the field of special education, because I think this is very important at the moment, especially after the pandemic. So I hope this pandemic doesn't stop us from improving our skills. And this is very interesting because people from 7 countries, if you look into the list of participants, yeah. So welcome to Malaysia virtually. And maybe if you want to say, oh, welcome to Thailand as well, because we can see Thailand, Philippines, Cambodia, Indonesia, Philippines, Mabuhay, yeah? All right. Have I mentioned all countries? Brunei, is it Brunei, yeah? All right. So my name is Farhah. I am currently teaching in University Kebangsaan Malaysia. My specialization is deafness actually. Specifically, I look into the issues of how deaf children can be included in the Malaysian context. Okay, Malaysian and global context. All right. I think it's important to also share the usage of Zoom, because I think some of us may be used to Google Meet, maybe you use WebEx, maybe you use Microsoft Teams, and maybe this is the first time you use Zoom. So I think it will be helpful for me to share this layout. In Zoom, there are several functions. I think what's important for me now is the chat button. If you this is different if you're using handphones. If you're using phone, the layout will be different. And if you're using Zoom from internet browser, it will be different. So rather than this view is from application, meaning that if you download the app and then you open Zoom from that application, this is the layout. So try to explore a little bit, yeah? All right, so we have chat button, and then when you click on that, the chat box will appear on your right side. If it doesn't appear, it's probably because you are on, what do you call that thing? Full screen mode. So sometimes it comes as a pop-up. So, and if you're using handphone, probably you have to slide left and right. And it depends on your, what do you call it, device. All right, there's also expressions button. This is where you can, on Zoom, you can click, you can play around if you want. You can just test if I'm going too slow or too fast, or if you want to smile, celebrate, or clap, hand claps, you can do so. You can click now if you like, just to try out. You know, yeah, I can see Joe Nabila, oh, love. I can see thumbs up. You know, just share if you want. All right. I may not be able to see all, but I'll try my best to what I can. Oh, I can see Azlita raise hand. You can use some of this. All right. Okay. Effective. I think now we are working mostly online. So I just want to share some of the tips when we communicate or we work online. It's important for us to have a two-way communication. For example, just now I've been asking, can you see my slides? Can you hear me well? And somebody say, oh, good, or even hand gestures. It's good, it's important because I don't know what you can see, and I probably don't know what you can hear, and sometimes internet's lagging, in the middle. So just feel free to um, unmute if you want to say something. I don't mind. It's normal for me during my lecture, even in my class. I allow my students to unmute and then ask questions immediately during the session, just because so that we don't miss. Like when we do the sessions, if you keep the question, sometimes maybe it's less relevant at the end of it. But if you think it's like a more general question, yeah, we can keep it at the end of the session. All right. Number two, I think it is extremely important for us to be patient, because for this whole year, I've got no internet problem so far, alhamdulillah. But sometimes when we have like 100 people, suddenly I have internet connection problem. You probably have this problem. So I hope we can be patient with other people's in technical issues. Sometimes people accidentally mute, so suddenly you hear noise. Just ignore it. Right? We'll try to reduce the distraction. I appreciate active participation and engagement. So in this session, if you want to switch on your video, that would be very helpful, so that I know that you're listening. Because with this screen at the moment, there's only names. It's good, I can call out names with no. It's easier for me to identify your name rather than looking at your video. So I appreciate if you want to say, you want to respond with a nodding head. That would be very good. And then I think it's also important to embrace diversities, especially because we are working in ASEAN countries. We got differences, differences not just in opinion, differences like in special education, there are a lot of controversies. Yeah, disagreements, different perspectives, different policies, different contexts. We will explore this today towards the end of the session, and you will realize that it's very complex differences. So I hope we don't leave that negatively, like we embrace it. Embrace it means not just accept it, but we adapt and find ways to make things better. All right, and hopefully, please enjoy the session. All right. So just a quick heads up of my plan. Basically, I was given quite a freedom from the organizer to decide what I want to share. So here I lay out my plan. So in the first day today, we will do what I call introduction, because we're talking about many things, and 3 days, 2 hours per session is not enough. But we'll do what we can within our capacity. Obviously, you don't want to do this in a month time, isn't it? I think it's good to have an overview. What is it about, and what else needed? And after today's session, and then tomorrow we will have a very practical session, hopefully, where I will share how do you read articles first. Like you got the articles or the whatever readings you have, and then how do we go with that materials? Like how do we unpack the things, the issues, and then how do we move from reading into writing? Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow will be more practical, where I probably won't have much slides because I will be sharing lots of windows. Okay, on the third day, hopefully we can explore more of the writing strategies. Let's say you've known how to write. You got some idea what is academic writing. So you know what a what writing likes, how to write academically. So where do you go from there? So let's say you have some work that you want to do. We will share about resources. Probably you have more resources than that you think beneficial for you. I am more than happy to hear your sharing during the session. And then we will also discuss about where to publish. For example, if you plan to go to the conference, we will look into the requirement. How do you actually publish in this organization? And then I will also share. So writing is a process. It's not like after these 3 days, I will be able to write academically and I will be published in high impact journals. It's not as easy as that. So it's not a magic wand. Whatever training that you do is a process. Process means you have to polish. It's a skill that you need to polish, and you need to, but how do you polish? It's by practicing. So hopefully on the third day, we will be able to talk about what are some of the practices for those who are interested or who wants to write better. All right. So let's break the ice. Okay. Can I ask you to answer this question? If you could pick up a new skill and in instant, meaning that you want it right now, what would it be? So please use the chat button, chat box at the bottom, so that we can see. For those who can't see it, it's probably you have to hover a little bit. Then maybe it's auto hide, the chat button, and then write your answer. I would like to then we can get to know, people in Thailand, for example, want to have this. People in Philippines, for example, like to have this. Malaysian people from Malacca probably have a different interest from people in Johor. Yeah, I can see. Oh, wow. We have a research writer skills. Wow. Are you a researcher? Writing critically. It's not necessarily have to be about writing. It can be anything. Can be about sewing. Maybe you want to make a nice dress, but make sure the dress have glitter at the bottom, because you can't really see what's at the bottom, at the top. Okay. 2 minutes. Cooking skills, maybe anybody? Writing skills, artificial intelligence, very interesting. Drawing skills, yeah, I wish. Agriculture, yeah, now is the time. It's very important to start planting trees. Not just trees, just common food, vegetables, fruits, just near your house. Right, we got writing, good parenting, well done. Yeah, I think that is very important skills, because working at home while taking care of your children is very challenging. So yeah, that is an instant very important thing. Intervention skills, yes, much needed. How can we help our children, our students at school? Because they're facing a lot of issues at the moment. So we want to be able to plan programs and activities that can reduce the risk. Planning skills for what is LSEN? Keith, can you explain a little bit? LSEN.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
LSEN means learners with special educational needs.
Oh, learners with special education needs. Okay, we don't use that term in Malaysia. Sorry, I'm not used to that term. Learners with special education needs. LSEN. Maybe we use, but we don't short form it. We don't use acronyms. All right. Next, who else? Manisha? Oh, there's so much. There's so much. Video editing skills, yes. Teachers, much needed skills. All right. Thank you very much for sharing. If you want to know more about your friends' skills, maybe you can check them privately. So instead of clicking everyone, you can click that particular name and then send them a private message. It happens. That's the amazing thing about online learning, because you can have another meeting and in a meeting, embraced it, I would say, because in a real face-to-face meeting, if you try to have a small meeting in a big meeting, it will be noisy. So now you can. For today, I would like to offer a new skill, which is, it could be reading and writing skills. And hopefully this will improve at least we got some foundation of how can we, maybe we know something about academic writing before. So hopefully after this session, there are some value added that you can actually apply in other daily activities. Okay, how do I, give me a second, because my layout is a little bit different as a presenter. Okay, so examples, yeah. Um, Examples of academic writing. What do you think? Okay, what is this? Academic journals, yeah? Articles in academic journal. Normally, when you talk about academic writing, people will say, yeah, journals, reading articles, yeah? And then we also have, this hardbound book. It can be very heavy, very costly as well. It's called thesis, but I count them as I collect them as a higher education assignments or tasks, because in school we do academic writing, but in higher education it's a little bit different, because it involves references. We'll see the differences before later. All right, we also have, this is the new norm, which is the virtual conferences. So even if you are in Brunei, you can still attend a conference in Malaysia, which is amazing. Yeah, virtual conferences, you need to be able to write abstract first, and then you will need to present in an academic way. Okay. And I would like to also share, not academic writing is not just about what do you call that thing? It's not just in university, it's also in magazines. So this is an example of international magazine. And then we also have local magazines. Yeah. These sometimes it's not a thesis, but we still consider it as academic writing materials. Okay, there's one more thing that I think is important. When it's something that we use every day. It's embedded within our daily activities, because it's just the thing we do now. I know some people are like, they don't use this at all. You can, but you will be left behind, because everyone will talking about it. It is social medias. Yeah, like it or not, you use WhatsApp, you use Telegram, the least you do. You use emails, you use Twitter, probably Facebook, Instagram, and all. As professionals, I think it is crucial for us to write anything on our social media academically, if you have a professional Facebook account, for example. Because, especially in special education, how many do you think actually involved in special education? It's actually it's quite small community. Meaning that we are selected. We are not selected in a sense that people like me and the people select me. No, not that sense. Meaning that we are selected to be in this field. Meaning that we have some sort of like an obligation to write something that is trustable. People will look us as a reference point when they have questions. Because parents, for example, they don't take special education certificate. So where else do they look for evidences or opinion? They will look into social medias. So I think it's very important for professionals like us to be aware whatever you write can become an evidence. So be careful, be very careful with whatever you post on your social media. All right? Can you follow so far? Yep, good. Right, thank you. So, in defining academic writing in research for research in SEN and IE, I think there are four main literature. Literature means whatever resources that you can find online, okay, or library if you can find it in the library. First is the academic writing field, meaning that academic writing is not just about the doing. It's not just about the text. Yeah, it has its own field of study. You can do a PhD on academic writing. So academic writing among parents, academic writing among teachers, among academic writing among students at universities, for example. Academic writing on its own has a big area. You can have linguists, people from linguistic, people from language perspective, even psychologists. You know, psychologists have started to explore how people writing affecting or how the brain develop differently with their writing. Yeah, it exists. So we're doing that, some of it, and then we also doing research, meaning that we look into what are the approaches, methodologies, ethical considerations, what else? Data analysis approaches, philosophy of qualitative approaches, whatever. That itself has its own field. Yeah. And we're trying to combine everything here. So we're doing a lot here. So just bear with me. And I know that some of this can be very heavy. So take it slowly. Try to position where is this knowledge. This is probably too much of academic writing. This is not related. I'm just going to look into what's relevant into the research, for example. Okay, for today's sessions, not just today's, for this workshop, we will be looking into the issue of inclusive and special education. I personally think it's a two different field. Some may argue inclusive education is part, it's a subset, meaning that you've got special education and then you've got inclusive education to be part of special education. That's fine. It's true, it is happening. For example, in Malaysia, we have what we call inclusive education program. Yeah, it's a name, it's a noun, a program, meaning that it is part of special education system. So in Malaysia, we have three systems. For example, we have special school for the deaf. Yeah, special, it's a special school on its own. We have integration program where we have a special education class in a mainstream class, a school. And then we have inclusive education program where it's a combination of both fully inclusion or partially included. But I would like to argue inclusive education is not just about special education. There is a stronger movement recently. It's not a long time ago. You know, like we've got introduction of inclusive education in 1994 with the Salamanca statement and all. But actually, some scholars argued that as even with the sustainable United Nations Sustainable Development Goals number 4, inclusive education has been upgraded to become one of the goals, you know, ensuring we're providing education that is inclusive and equitable for all. What does that mean? Is this mean about children with disabilities? No, some will argue no, some will argue it's part of it. So we'll explore later. All right, good so far? Am I being too fast? No? All right, thank you for nodding. That's helpful. We're gonna look into example. Oh, I think we have a lot of time. Okay, now if you look at this example, I have descriptive, And towards, and what is this? Critical analytical writing. Okay. I got this from the JSU reference language center. We have example number 1. It's very informal. If you look at into the timeline, it says that was so boring. Yeah. Where do you think you find this? Where? You find this in journals? You find this in WhatsApp text. Yeah, WhatsApp text. Maybe somebody say, oh gosh, oh my God, academic writing at 3:30 p.m. It's challenging. All right. So if you look at that sentence, there's spelling mistakes, not mistakes. It's not a correct spelling. And also it used the word that, you know, if you are speaking, let's say like for me, like me talking now, right now, I have face expression. I have my hand gestures. I have situation now, for example, a lot is happening. And then I said, that was so boring. You know, like that was so boring. Immediately, as someone who can hear, you know, you will be able to kind of get it. I was referring to maybe this slide, for example, that, because it says that, you know, that was so boring, meaning that it's, you kind of get some idea. But in writing, if you write it there and then you paste it on the walls and then you walk away, people who come 2 months later reading that text, they will have questions. That was so boring. What do you mean? You know, what that? What do you mean that? What is the that? Is it the toilet that is boring? Is it the cashier that was boring? Is it the, you know, there's so much question you can ask just with these 4 letters. Okay. Let's move on to example number 2. That workshop was so boring. Okay. So number 2, we have some idea, which is that workshop was so boring. Oh, it's about the workshop. Okay. At least we have some information. The person is referring to that workshop. Which workshop? I don't know. Okay, but still, at least they're using a correct spelling, correct what do you call it? Punctuation, and at least we got some details. We're moving on to the 3rd example. The workshop on academic writing was boring. Good. You got some more information. Okay. Which workshop? The workshop on academic writing was boring. Okay. And it's not, and if you look at the sentence, it ends with a full stop. So you can see that, oh, okay, this person is not angry or anything. They just say, it's just a statement. The workshop on academic writing was boring. Okay, got it. Like that. Okay. But is that academic writing? Not yet. Okay, moving on into example number 4. Students have reported that the workshop on academic writing did not meet their learning needs. Okay, this is more like it, yeah, because you know who said the workshop on academic writing was boring. We don't know. And but number 4, we know, oh, students mentioned. Okay, when you make a claim, or students say, at least we know it's the students that reported it. Okay, why they think it's boring? Because it doesn't meet their learning needs. So they thought, no, this is irrelevant to me. Okay. Moving on into what they consider as formal writing, and hopefully we're moving towards academic writing, is we have, according to a recent study, student survey, for example, the academic workshops at JCU have failed to meet intended learning outcomes. Okay, so we have more evidences rather than just say students have reported where. Do you have a platform? How do you know? How do you collect the information? So in this, even the it's still the same thing. You see, the point is still the same, that the workshop is boring, but you know that they got to know about this, how they know what they know. Yeah. Because as I said before, writing stays. Yeah, writing stays. People come back to it maybe 2 months, 3 years later, 4 years later. So whatever you write, you are not there to explain to people what do you mean, who said what, surveyed what. So it's important for our writing to be clear and as specific as possible, so that whenever people come back to read it, they know that this context, this particular statement is about this particular context. Yeah. All right. Is that all right so far? Are we good? Okay. Thank you for responding. What slides am I? Okay. Good. You're doing good. Shocking. All right. Any questions so far? No question. I will ask questions. Okay. When you look at this, yeah, can I ask, maybe if you like to chat or something, just write it, or if you want to speak up, maybe, what are the characteristics of academic writing? We got some example here, what does it mean? Not what does it mean? What does it involve? What does it involve when you say this is academic writing? Maybe you can share. Evidence, yes, very good. Data, yes.
Strong base on strong base, evidence base.
Strong evidence base, yes.
Yeah, strong evidence base. So sorry.
Thank you very much for sharing. Who else want to share, maybe? Clear and specific, yeah? Clear and specific. It must be specific based on evidence. Because you are making a claim, yeah? You want to say that this workshop is boring. So in order for the organizer to improve, they need some evidences, because if not, everybody can just say anything they want, and then the organizer panic and then do all sorts of things, and while it's not necessary, because actually it's a good thing, so it's important to provide evidence. And then, so I see methodology, can measure, very good. Yeah, when you say the workshop is boring, how do you measure boringness? Is there a word, boringness? But if you measure doesn't meet learning needs or learning outcomes, it's something that you can achieve. So that the person, because when we do research, we do research, we have findings, we reported our data, and then we present it to somebody, the policymakers. They need to make changes, but they need to know how much change they need to do. Yeah, so it's something that is measurable. Okay, yes, we need purpose. Yeah. Why do you write this? Like, if you write an article on how to improve academic writing workshop online for special education teachers, then the whole article will be about how organizers of online workshop can improve their program. Does that make sense? So policy makers, maybe they would need, or at least teachers need to attend 10 hours of training every year, for example. Okay. That is very least. Um, yes, important. Put a reliance on the previous. Yes, because whatever research or whatever phenomena in English, phenomenon maybe. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Something, whatever situation or incident, or not incident, it's a phenomenon, something that happened in your education system that you want to explore, you want to know more. Normally there will be some previous research, because this is 2021. People have been doing research since 1800, I think, maybe even less than before. So it's very important for you to look at what has people explored. One is because you don't want to repeat the same research. Often the case, my students at university propose research. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do. It's not wrong, but you are wasting resources when evidences are available already in the literature. Why are we repeating it? While at the same time, there are many other issues that needs instant, like current exploration. For example, pandemic is going on. How are we doing research on this? Are we exploring this? Okay, but on the other hand, there's also issues on that. If it's too current, sometimes sometimes you're going to say, oh, there's no evidences. No, actually there are a lot of theories. uh, the COVID-19 is new, but pandemic is not new. We have pandemic even 100 years ago. So there are research on that. So we can actually refer to that and then kind of apply that into our context, because research is different context. For example, different countries, even within the countries, different state, even within the state, different schools have different contexts, different socioeconomic background of the students, different diversity background, for example. So the context will determine whether evidences from the previous study can be applied to the current stage. Okay, every descriptive must be countable and evidence. Okay, descriptive. Okay, descriptive means that you describe something. Okay, it's fine. Yes, in academic writing, you can be descriptive. You can describe something, but it's not just stating the obvious. You say something analytically. Analytically means meaning that you make an analysis. Yeah, it's not just about saying that was boring, for example. So what? How can we improve? Because whatever statement that we do is with a reason that we want to make things better. Okay, based on facts, not perception. That is very important. Towards the end, we will discuss about some of the dilemmas in special education, very difficult dilemmas and contested that sometimes people tend to put emotions on writing. In academic writing, we cannot express emotions like uh, I am angrily writing. No, we have to be natural, because as a researcher, for example, we are not, we do have bias. We do have bias, but somebody accidentally muted me. It's fine. Can you hear me now? Yeah? All right. What happened? Where was I? Where was I? I was talking about...
You are talking about emotion.
Yes, thank you very much. Emotions in writing. Yeah, in academic writing, we remove, we do have bias, whether we are insider or outsider, but we try to be natural based on evidence. Evidence means it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be necessarily interviews or the data itself, but even our observation or the policy, the context, those are the things that will need to be considered when we want to make a claim. All right. Moving on, yeah. Characteristics. These are just, if you notice, we use academic vocabularies. Yeah, it's different. Rather than use the word boring, we use what was it? Not meeting their learning needs, for example. Yeah. In the third day, I will share a website that have examples of academic vocabularies that hopefully will be useful for us in writing. Okay, it's different. Even for a native speaker of English, yeah, the American or the Australian, New Zealanders, or what do you call them, British, they speak English, but they don't speak academically. Like for us, for example, you can be a native speaker of Malay, but when it comes to academic writing in Malay, you might not be as good because it uses a lot of whole bunch of vocabularies that we don't normally use in daily conversation. I don't know if you speak academically, I don't. So some people, yeah, some people may speak there are research, this is very interesting. There are research that shows there are the new generation of children, because they watch TV so much, they don't speak normally. They speak like the TV. That is something you can explore later, because that's a whole bunch of other things. Okay, some of the characteristics you just mentioned, yes, very specific. Include references and evidences. It depends. If you only have one sentence, obviously you cannot put everything in it. Yeah. So that's why you write a whole paragraph rather than a sentence. Okay. Yeah. Include references. Okay. In academic writing in higher education, it's different from school academic writing because we have styles, yeah, writing styles or referencing style. We have APA, Chicago. In Malaysia, in UKM, we have UKM style. So it's different. This is slightly different. If you, I think I've seen the participants here. Some of you are, we all are we did degrees at least, yeah, professionals. So I think you've got some idea how different in formatting. Even a full stop and a comma makes a difference. Even a space within a bracket, for example, makes a difference because it's rules, in that format. For example, the rule says you have to have the surname, comma, and then the year, you have to do it. Don't question. You cannot question because that is academic writing rules, the characteristics of academic writing. We need to have references, formatting. Okay, clarity. Yeah. Do I have examples of? Oh, I don't include it. Clarity means when you want to write something, you don't go around the bushes. You try to be bombastic. You try to use on the other hand, does, however, you're using too much. You're probably using too much. So uh, there is a lack of clarity when you try to be clever. People say you try to be clever by using all these bombastic words, but sometimes you miss the point because people don't get it. People have to read again and again. It's like, oh, what are you trying to say actually? So it's important for you to be clear and concise especially. Short, keep it short and simple. But you get the point. But to get to this point, it needs practice. So there are more, yeah. There's so many more characteristics. We can always, you can always Google, and then you'll see a lot of examples of academic writing. Okay. So let's look at this example. Okay, now I want to share about reading with questions. Can you excuse me? Sorry. We have, okay, let's do this exercise. What is reading with questions? It's just one sentence. It's a statement. It's not a question. But as an academic writer, we have to constantly try to, I can't see this thing. Oh, yeah. We have to try to come up with questions because we have to question the what do you call it? We have to question the clarity. Is it the clarity? The claim, the evidence that this person are making. Because claim can be very dangerous. You can just simply say somebody doing this and that, and you shouldn't just believe everything that you write, even if it's published in index journal, for example, because people got different opinion. Yeah, we'll explore that more tomorrow when we do the actual reading. Okay, but for today, I'm gonna just share some of the examples. Okay, there were a lot of special students who enroll at the university to study education. Can somebody, anybody would like to share what is the problem with this sentence? If there is no volunteer, I will call out names.
Doctor,
Yes.
Yes.
I think
Who
there
is
is no, I'm Zaimi from Putrajaya.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first statement has no evidence. It's just a claim
Okay.
without any evidence, and the statement is not
evidence.
complete.
Okay, which word that is problematic?
There were a lot, so it doesn't
Lot.
specify.
A
Yeah,
lot, okay?
yeah. There is no numerical evidence.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is
What
my
else?
point of view.
Thank you
Special
very much for
students.
sharing.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Thank you very
somebody
much.
else want to share special? Okay, special students. We're gonna unpack this. Who else want to share?
Doctor.
Special. Yes, go ahead.
I think we can also say, based on the registration or the enrollment form, there are, and then we can mention
Which
the
one?
figure, the number
This one.
for
They
that
were.
for the first one. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Based
All right.
on
We
the
can't figure the
enrollment.
numbers.
Yes, based on the enrollment or the registration. Yes, and then we
Mm.
can indicate actually the number of the special students who enrolled.
Okay. Thank
Is
you,
that okay,
Benjamin.
ma'am?
Mhm.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Who else want to share? There's more mistake. It's not mistake. It's not mistake. Sorry. It's the question. You know, when I read this, I have a lot of question in my head. What kind of example? What kind of questions? What else?
Hello po.
Lina.
Another thing.
Hi, Lina. Okay.
Yes, hello po. Another thing that comes in my mind is what are the levels of those special students that are enrolled? So it is more clear if there are kunwari, grade 1, kinder, or the
Mm-hmm.
level of their studying and the number of enrolled in per grade level.
Very good. Thank you.
What do you mean by special students? There are different disabilities that can be
Mm-hmm.
identified.
Yes, that is good. Anyone else want to share? Please feel free. Anyone? Let me check the chat button, chat box. I'm sorry, I have to change. Okay. What type of education? Yes, the word education. To study education. Okay, let's unpack this. Okay. There were, where? There were, like suddenly, because it's not, you are not there to explain. Yeah. Suddenly you come to the sentence, it start the sentence with there were, where? So there is also very problematic. Let me change my maybe to the pen like this. Oh my God, sorry, I cannot. There where like a question mark here, big question mark. Okay, were a lot. How many? How a lot is a lot? You know, a lot. Some countries they have never have children with disabilities enrolled at university, and having 5 students with disabilities in university is a lot to them. For many years, they have never had, and suddenly this year we have 5. Amazingly, they are proud of it to have 5. To them, 5 is a lot. But for established countries, you know, maybe they have done this for many, many years. You know, they have every year enrollment of students with disabilities to university is almost 80%. When they say we have 500 students, they're going to say 500. We've got 5,000 students. You see what I mean? Yeah. So be careful with this kind of vocabs. You know, a lot, just, you know, there were just one special education. There were just one children. Even the word just, you know, J-U-S-T can mean many things. Yeah. Because just means there were just 500 special, there were just 500 participants in the conference. You know, people who organize like 30 participants, they're going to what? 500 is just, you know, 500 is not just, 500 is a lot. So that's where I'm going, if you get what I mean. All right. Yes, that's just, there are a lot more word on there are a lot more word that maybe we thought have standard understanding, but actually no, people may have different interpretation of that sentence. Okay, special students. Wow, what is so special about the students? I know this is very controversial because we use the word students a lot. We use the word special a lot. It doesn't work in academic writing because the word special can be interpreted differently. What is so special about the students? Do they have wings? Do they have horns? Do they have like, what about it? What about it? Yeah. And rights to education is not special. It's rights. Everybody have to have the right to go to university. Why do we categorize these students as special? You know, there's nothing special about it. If you, for example, this is not my word, yeah, this is from reading papers from scholars. Sometimes they debunk the idea of special classroom because they said, what is so special about coloring and tracing dots? If that's the only thing they do in the class, there's nothing special about it. What is special is when, I don't know, you can interpret special in a different way. What would be beneficial is if we can set some objectives and they achieve the objectives. That is special. You know, the idea of if you want to use the word special. So in academic writing, we don't use children, special students. We try to avoid. We use students with disabilities, for example. But even with terms, it's highly contested. That's why issues in special and inclusive education is so complex, because even if you want to say someone has a disability, it's also not easy, because how do you define ability and disability is another field of exploration. Yeah. Okay, we just have to reduce. I mean, if we can't, of course, we cannot please everybody. You know, in Malaysia, we use students with special needs. Sometimes people again argue what is so special about their needs when it's their right to have education. So, but
So sorry, madam. I just like
yes,
to interrupt. Oh yeah, I just like to pick up. Yeah, it just like to follow the characteristic because then we need to specific, not a lot. It just, but we have to like put the number or not special student. We should focus and then like to be narrow, specific, right? It doesn't follow the characteristics. So we should use the word like children with disability into it, right?
yes.
I'm
Thank you
got
very much,
right.
Shai Patana. Yes,
Yeah,
do I pronounce your name
I
correctly?
just like again, please.
Yeah.
Again,
What did
please.
I? Yeah. When you okay, it is helpful for you to state even with children with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for us to state: is it deaf children? Is it children with autism? Is it children with learning disabilities? You know, when you talk about children with disabilities, there's so much, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's also important for depends on the context. If you already clarify in this article, we will use deaf children. You know, the article is about deaf children. It's fine if you use deaf children. But if the argument is about children with disabilities, maybe you need to clarify what kind of disabilities. Because
Uh-huh. These are
there's
like
yeah.
children with it like intellectual physical disability like this, something like this. That like
Yes,
specific.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Intellectual, learning
Okay.
disability, physical
Okay.
disability. That's why you have to
Uh-huh.
clarify.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And then we have who. That's why the sentence is not helpful because we don't know who are they talking about. Okay? Who enrolled at the university? Which university? You know, to study education. Is there a study education? It's not grammatically correct. You know, education is not something that you can study. It doesn't sit well on that sentence. Okay, we have a second example. Okay, we'll do the correction later. In the reading test, let me just check. Type of course taken. Yes, type of course taken. What? Yeah, so it is well indeed understood. We can understand, but it's not correct. Like if we want to talk course of that the person is taking, there is a name. You know, in university, is it bachelor level? Is it master's level? Is it doctorate level? You know, you have to be clear about it. Okay, example number 2. This involve a stronger claim. Yeah. In the reading test, the 5 children who use mobile applications perform better than the 5 children who use books. This shows that usage of mobile applications is a better choice for schools. What do you think? Please, the floor is yours. Anyone? You can chat if you don't want to unmute. In the reading
Ma'am,
test, yes.
Mom, I think in A, it should be the article A in a reading test. And I think the context is just for one school, right? So I think we cannot generalize that the mobile application is a better choice for all schools, since that I think this study or this research has been done in one particular school. So I
Mm,
think we cannot generalize it. So there's something that we have to change here in the word schools. So we cannot
thank you.
generalize it. I think
Thank
that's
you
how
very
I
much,
see it.
Benjamin, for that reflection.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes,
ma'am.
there is only 5 children, you know, 5 children who use mobile. And then only 5 children who use books. And then suddenly we say, oh, this school says so, let's throw away all our books in school, let's all use mobile applications. So that is a very serious claim and that should be questioned. Okay, so I'm seeing more comments. The content and what level? Yes. Um, which research says so? Yes. Who says? Who is the author of this statement? You know, what reading test? You know, which reading that shows using mobile apps is better than books? There's so much. Are you testing the vocabulary level? Are you testing their comprehension level? Are you assessing their, what else? Reading and writing? Reading, yeah. Pronunciation, phonological awareness, all those of things. You know, how they measure? Yes, how do they measure? Like, is it just because they improve, the word perform better? Better in what sense? How much better they did? Like, if it's just, improvement in 10 words, that's not significant. Like, just because we want to improve 10 more words of our children, we spend millions buying all these applications. How much significant that the point that the evidences shows. So that's why sometimes research methodologies is crucial, because you need to be very, very clear in how you measure. Sometimes, especially performance, if you want to say academic performance, children has increased with the teaching of English and in teaching English in mathematics and science. How do you measure? Are you measuring their knowledge in science, or are you measuring their usage of English? So there's a lot of question in methodologies if you want to explain, if you want to claim that they have made better performance by using this approach. Okay, for school, what level of school is this? Primary school or secondary school? What kind of mobile apps? There are thousands and millions of it. Is it offline apps? Is it online apps? Is it games? Is it, all sorts of application? How valid is the test? What kind of test is this? Let's say you've got a very established validity reading test, but it belongs to the United States. Suddenly you want to use these tests, you bring to Malaysia, you send it to your student, they don't even understand the question, they just tick, 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 tick. And then you thought, our students, my research use a very good reading test questionnaire. So, but actually, people can question the validity of the data that you collected. It's very dangerous, because later on, these data, you will use the data to discuss, and at the end, you will reflect and give suggestion for changes. If you're doing for nothing, you don't do research. Why waste time? Why waste energy? Why waste resources if you're not using it to improve the practices, improve the policy? The sample is only 10 students. Yes, I have mentioned. How do you select the students? Like, does it involve children with disabilities? Does it involve children with diverse background? For example, is English their second language or third language? Probably in some countries, you have English as fourth language. Yes, it's happening. So it's a better choice. Choice for what? Choice for what? Choice for yeah, it's not clear there. All right, let's move on to, it's 4 o'clock. Are we all right? You good? You can grab some drink. Thank you for responding. Okay. How do I go next? Do you know how do I go next here? Or maybe I need to use this. Okay. How do we improve that? Okay. Let's look at it. Okay, so we have the first sentence. There were a lot of special students who enrolled. This is just my suggestion. It can be many ways. No? There are many ways to improve the sentence. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, my example. 500 students with disabilities enrolled in the bachelor education degree at Malaysian local universities into 2021. Then you have more information. It's still the same, it means, but there is no emotion in it. I did not say 500 is a lot. I did not say 500 is little. I just state the facts. The facts are there are 500 students with disability. Which one? Those who are with disabilities. What kind of disabilities? I did not clarify because I just make a statement that there are 500 students with disabilities enrolled. Where? In the Bachelor of Education degree. It's not master's level. It's not, maybe it's master's level. Degree can be master's, isn't it? Where? At Malaysian local universities. It's not private, it's local universities. When? In 2021. This is helpful so that we can make a comparison later. Let's say you read this in 2050, for example. Oh gosh, 2021, we only have 500. Now we have 100% of all students with disabilities enrolled in our university with all sorts of bachelor program, for example. Then you can make more comparisons. Academic writing, when you read something that is academic, it helps you to improve your knowledge. Yeah, you will learn something from it, and you will be able to discuss it in a different context, for example. Because obviously, when you publish this, somebody else will read it with a different point of view. Yeah. So if you have a clear statement, and they will be able to use this information to discuss it or to compare it with other things, then that is a good writing. Okay, it's not perfect. Writing cannot be perfect, because even if you read what do you call that thing? High index, like all sorts of in Malaysia we call it Q1 papers, you can still see flaws, which is fine, because you don't want a perfect paper to publish. You just need good papers, and people can benefit from your findings. It's a significant paper, people need to know this, and by publishing it, more research can be done. Okay, because academic writers tend to be perfectionists. This is a problem. Yeah, that's why if you see, there are a lot of researchers in the whole world, but you don't really see many research or many publications. Being perfectionist is one thing, but it's also, there are also all sorts of other issues that we will discuss on third day. Why? Although there are many researchers, there are not as many publications. Okay. All right. Moving on to the second example. Okay, I'm just checking the time. In the reading test, the 5 children who use mobile applications perform better than the 5 children who use books. This shows that usage of mobile application is better choice for schools. Even when you read it, you read it, you were like, oh gosh, I don't want to believe this. You can change it into children who use mobile applications did better in reading tests than children thought. Sorry, maybe I should write what do you call that? Reference. I didn't include reference. For example, let's do that now. This guy. Maybe I should add. Maybe you want to say this. For example, 2022. For example. Okay. Okay. However, the study was small. The test was rather limited, and demographic information of the children was not clearly discussed. So you acknowledge that research has been done. Yeah, it's good. At least somebody have done it. But you also acknowledge that the study have some limitations. We can compare, but in that context, what happened? What kind of apps they use? Who are the 5 children, for example? Okay. There are many other examples. There are many other suggestions or ways to improve it. You can always try and error, like play around with the words, and it's important for you to give it to somebody else to read, to show, okay, do you understand this? Like maybe is there different perspective when different understanding with the sentence, for example. Okay. Polls. Okay. All right. Now I will it's good in Zoom. I don't know if other applications. I don't know in Google Meet. Do you have polls in Google Meet? I don't think so. In Zoom, they have this function, but I think it's only available for license, meaning that if you use the free version of Zoom, you might not have this polls function. Yeah. I haven't published it yet. I just want everybody to get ready because I think the polls only open for, I don't know why they do this, but maybe it was only for 30 seconds. So just be quick to click. No. There's no right or wrong answer. Don't worry about it. I just want to do some survey. And I think it's important also to do some polls during your, some of you maybe teachers. Polls help us to get some interaction from the student. After an hour of lecture like this, probably you're tired and you want to get your participants away from so much. So getting their feedback will at least shift their input from receiving towards giving or expressing. Okay, let me try to publish. Bear with me. And also, I think I've tested it before. Some devices may not see it, unfortunately. I don't know why. I've tried it with the technical team. Somehow, some people just couldn't see the post. So let's give it a try, yeah? Okay, I've got the poll. You are logged in from another device. I need to leave. Okay. Give me a second. Oh no, I got an error message. Oh, sorry. Oh no, you are logged in from another device. Your polling session is inactive. Do we have a technical team? Hello? Technical team? Are you there? Oh no.
Hello, yes, doctor. Hello, yes,
Yeah,
doctor.
boleh
Yes.
tak check poll tu? Sorry, just gonna check with the polls. Boleh tak tekan poll tu?
Okay, poll.
Boleh tak? Ada tak poll? Publish boleh tak? Saya tak boleh publish lah.
Polling. Wait
Just bear with us.
Okay, done.
Can you see the poll, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
The
I
line,
cannot
green
see. I don't know
line,
why.
writing for research.
Yes, please respond. Quick. I don't know. I think that there's only 30 seconds to respond. I cannot see it though. Like, as a host, I don't know, I'm a host, but it doesn't belong to me. You look so serious. It's not an SPM question, It's just opinion. Got it?
2 questions only, yeah, doctor?
3, supposedly.
Oh, okay, doctor.
Yeah, can you see the poll? All right. Academic writing is only for research. Oh gosh, sorry. You know that the Google PowerPoint has this function where you can crop unnecessary things. This we don't want this to disappear. Okay, academic writing is only for research. 81% says disagree. 19%. There's no right or wrong answer. It depends on how you define academic writing. if you think academic writing, there are many versions of academic writing. If you write academic writing um, on a topic without doing without doing it for research, so it's for research. So sometimes you don't do academic writing for research. You do it for sharing, meaning that you just want to share what's your findings. So in that sense, no, academic writing is not only for research. But if you want to say academic writing in a sense where you need to do research in order for you to be able to do good writing, yes, then academic writing can be only for research. You see what I mean? Even for that sentence, there are many interpretations. So that's why maybe that question isn't clear enough. Okay, so that's why you can have two different perspectives. Okay, let's look at writing for research involves number one, reading previous research and policies. Yes, but it's not just reading previous research and policies. There's more to read. You also need to read what else? You also need to read uh, uh, gray area literature, for example, blogs. Some may say, oh, you shouldn't refer to blogs. It depends. If your study is about if that is the only evidences available, you can read not to cite, but to say that available evidences within the public domain are mainly in grey literature. Some of these are in blogs type, for example. It can still be referred to, not to make claim out of it, but to show how the data is found and how the context can be explained. Especially in low and middle income countries, there are very limited research because of all sorts of reasons. And some researchers say, scholars, they argue, if grey literature is the only literature that available, be it, just refer to it, but with caution, meaning that you explain, oh, why is this good or is this not good enough. All right, applying research ethics, very important. This is about research. When you do research, you are involving, like in education, for example, special education, we involve human, they have their own privacy rights, they have their own hidden information. And when we do research, we ask for this information. And then not only we ask for information, we even publish it. So that's why it's very important for us to have research ethics. But in many countries, like in ASEAN countries, we have yet to have an established research ethics committee, for example. Some of the contexts, it's not even there. So the government, or for example, doesn't even think ethics is important. Therefore, there is no board, like a committee that actually review what is the function of this committee. They look into our proposal and then they're going to say, look, this method is very dangerous. You are going to take their photos, for example, and then you're going to publish it. How are you going to cover their identity? Because, well, let's say they're saying something against the government. Are we protecting their safety, and not just safety physically, but also emotionally? And now ethics have also moved towards not just the participants' safety, but also the researchers' safety. For example, the researcher is a woman with disability, for example, and then she is also exploring about the experience of other women with disabilities. When she asks questions, uh, probably that questions might trigger her own experience. So how are you protecting your participants and yourself? All right. And then in research also we have understanding research context, obviously. What is the context? Where is this happening? Why? Like what the policy? Let's say you want to do something. It may be available. You can't do it in your country, but maybe in my country you can't do it. It's just no, you can't do it, like. So it's very crucial to understand why some suggestions might not work. All right, moving on, we've got collecting data, analyzing data. That's research. Yeah, research means you search and research, meaning that you keep on looking for answers, right? And then we publish our work. If you don't publish, then it's just gonna it's a what do you call that thing? A waste, yeah, a little bit of waste. But of course, waste publication is not as easy as we thought. Oh, everyone, you should publish. You've done it. We're gonna explore that on third day. Okay, I need to have data to write research paper. Yes. Oh, that's a big yes. The answer is it depends actually. Nobody actually said no. Actually, no. You can actually you can do research even without a data, but it depends on how you define data. Even if you don't have data like data, interview, observation, or survey, you can review paper, meaning that you read other previous papers, and those papers are called data, can be called data. So some may argue, oh, that's not data. No, actually, in the definition of data, that if that's considered a data, then you don't need to have an interview to write, to do a research. Okay, to write a research paper. In fact, you just want to write it. So if you want to write something, sometimes you don't do the research. Somebody else did the research. Somebody else collected the data. Somebody else somebody else did the intervention and whatever. You just have to write. So you don't need it. You don't need to. It depends really. So that's for. Just checking the time now. Okay, I think we're good. How is research in special education different from other fields? Okay, my first point there is complex. It's very complex. I've checked on the background of our participants. Some are not from special education field. That's fine. But it's complex because when you want to unpack, okay, we are dealing with abstract concepts. It's not like pure science, for example. Pure science have their own issues, but specifically for special education, we are social sciences mainly. We are dealing, or we are discussing about abstract concepts. There's this thing, you can't see it, and then we're gonna talk about it, and then I'm gonna give it to you, something you can't see. You're gonna accept it, and then you can make understanding out of it. It's very difficult when you discuss something that you cannot see. You get what I mean? So there can be many interpretations. For example, the word disability. In the UK, they acknowledge, they recognize mental illness, for example, is part of disability, meaning that those with depression, diagnosed psychological illness can can be recognized as a people with disability. But some countries, they only look into what is evidence, like maybe physical, maybe they got sensory issues, and maybe they have learning disabilities. Even with learning disabilities, let's say you're talking about here, something that's happening, learning, yeah? how we process things different. So when we want to say, oh, this child has learning disability, how do you pinpoint what's their level? Is it written there? Do you know how much? It's difficult, complex, because we cannot easily pinpoint where is the disability. That's one thing. That's just disability itself. And also education in a general sense. When you want to say, let's provide education for this person, everyone have the right to education. How do you define education? You say, oh, education in when the child goes to school. Now school is closed. Are they not receiving education? Those who are attending schools, are they actually receiving education when they can't hear what's happening in the class? So the first argument why research in special education is different because it's complex, yeah, and it's diverse. You are not only talking about one type of disability. You've got many, and even let's say you want to talk about deafness, there are many types of deafness. You got 2 ears, one may be different from the other. And then you got 3 different parts of ears. Maybe you have issues in the external part, outer part. You got issues in the middle part. And then you probably have issues in the internal part. So these differences is complex because it's multifaceted depending on the family background. Diverse, it's very diverse. It's different if you go to areas where the child is speaking 3 or 4 different languages. We do have that, yeah. And also it's more complex now because the way family develop has changed. We normally have same racial marriage, but now we have interracial marriage, migrations to somewhere else, different development of family, where is the nucleus of where the child is grow, so as a result you have a very different kind of children. Okay, number 3, it's sensitive, yeah. We're talking about a topic that is very sensitive. Later on, we'll do some activities that can be very difficult to resolve. There's no right or wrong answer. We just have to embrace the differences. And in research, it's difficult because there are not many references, especially in low and middle income countries. There's so many reasons of it. One is resources. You don't have enough money to publish, for example, but you don't also have enough experts, people who know how to do research. So therefore you have limited references. Okay, language barrier, because one word can mean different thing in other language. For example, the word inclusive, we don't have the word inclusive in Malay. We just adapt. Instead of using VE, we spell it with F, inclusive. We change it to inclusive. We still use the word inclusive. And in English, we have inclusion. How do you translate that into Malay? Actually, we don't have inclusion. So how is inclusion different from inclusive? So it's something that needs to be considered when we want to research in this field. All right, where are we now? It keeps on giving me problem to click. Oh, I don't know why. All right, let's move on. The final part. Can I ask, we're gonna have some drama. Don't worry, the text is provided, the script is ready, I'm the director. I just need 2 volunteers each. We're going to have 3 situations. 2 volunteers, maybe 2 volunteers. What you're going to need to do is, I will present the script, yeah? So meaning that you will have your own role and you will acting a little bit, it'll be nice. Please switch on your camera just so that we can see your expressions. And then after the acting, it'll be very helpful if we can discuss those who take the role to discuss. Maybe in my opinion, you might not, let's say you got the parents role, maybe you're not a parent, so but it will be helpful if you can share what is your thought about this matter. We can ask somebody else, it's just that timing, I'm worried about the timing. All right, can we have 2 volunteers? If not, I will call out names. Do we have volunteers? Anyone? Malaysia? Come on. 2 volunteers. Be famous. Should I raise them? Should I mention names?
Okay, I'm A from
Ame?
Thailand. Okay, I will
Oh,
show.
thank you. All right, you want to, what's your name again?
You can call my nickname. I'm A from Thailand. Chai Patana, that's my real name.
Okay, Chai Patana. So should I call you May?
Yeah,
May.
A.
Okay, A.
Yeah,
Thank you.
A, that's the alphabet of
Okay,
English.
so
That's
we
right.
have A from Thailand, and then can we have Girinda Dara? But can we Indonesia, please? Please. You good, Girinda? Do I call you Girinda?
Yeah, you can call
Okay.
me Girina.
All right. Okay. First situation. Who would like to be the parents? Maybe Girinda can be the parent.
Okay.
All right. So what you're gonna need to do, I'm gonna put you on spotlight, yeah, just so that others can where's Shaiba? Give me a second.
Okay, so I pretend to a teacher, right?
You can be the teacher, but I try to. Oh, you don't switch on your camera. Can you switch on your camera?
Oh, okay, sure.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
So that I
wait
can
a
put you on
minute.
spotlight, and then everyone else
Okay.
can see how you act. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
So sorry,
first.
I'm really excited to other countries.
Thank you. All right. So what we're gonna do is we are going to what do you call that thing? Read first. Read this text first. You take your time to read first a little bit, and then do some reflection of it. Okay.
Okay. Do some expression like my face
Expression. Yeah, you
expression.
can. Yeah, you're the
Okay.
actor, of course.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Action.
It is not
Go.
It is not economically sustainable to have special classes for children with disabilities in the rural and poor areas.
Okay. Mhm.
Teacher.
But it is necessary to recognize and identify individual needs so that support can be provided. Teachers have to be trained with specialist knowledge to support the children in classroom adequately.
No, identifying disability has created stigma and means that children with disabilities aren't accepted in mainstream schools.
All right. Cut. Well done. All right. So we've got a first scene here where the parents argued that we shouldn't have a special school. Yeah, special classroom. The child shouldn't be placed in a special classroom. Well, the teacher said, if I don't know your child, how do I help? Like, because I got so many children in my class. And then obviously the parents said again, no, if you identify my child, the other children will make fun of him. Okay, what's your reflection, Girinda, on this matter? Maybe you have an opinion?
It is not economically sustainable to special.
Economically sustainable means that if we open special school in this area, can we maintain, sustain the cost of the school? Because special school is expensive.
I see, because like we have to use.
Can we afford, for example, this is
Okay.
a poor area, you have managers, but
In
you can
rural
only
area.
have one school in rural areas.
Yeah, in rural
So
area.
if
We
the
have to
child,
pay.
if you have special school, you cannot afford. You can only have one type of school. So what's your, maybe A, you want to share your opinion? Are you a teacher, maybe?
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that, because like it is like to follow our role in our country. It's like if we have fight like with the children with disability, we should give as why like the properly way, that like to give like as why like this. Yeah, because it is very important. When the children come into a special center, we have a multidisciplinary. It's not only the special educator, but we also have like occupational therapists. But such as me, I'm a physiotherapist. I can give advice if the children who is like children with disability from a physical disability. I can give parents that like you have to like got the right. And that like you have to got rehabilitation with the properly at the right way. We should promote and encourage to all of them.
Okay.
From my point of view.
All right, Girinda, you want to share any points? Small point, maybe? As a teacher, maybe? What are you? Are you a teacher or researcher?
Yes, I am a teacher. What that this child has a disability, or do you think no, teacher should not know? Oh no, my connection. Is my internet okay? Can you hear me well? I'm losing my. It's not okay.
So sorry, I just interrupt. I come back.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
All right. I think in Girinda's internet is not working.
That everything clears for me.
Yeah, yours is okay.
Okay. Can I turn off?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I'm gonna remove spotlight because I think the internet is not working. All right. In this issue, it's complex, because parents they want their children to be included in the school just like other children. No, not just the parents, even the teachers, But sometimes as teachers, if I don't know that there is a child in my class that need extra attention, then probably I may miss the needs of the child. So it's important here that we clarify. We clarify. Is it the disability that need to be recognized, or is it the needs? So sometimes it's not about the disability, it's about the needs actually. What do they need? Because if you say, oh, the child needs extra reading exercise. Extra reading exercise is not just for children with disabilities. Sometimes children in mainstream classroom need extra reading activities. So it's not about their disability, it's about what they need at that time. All right, moving on. Can we have another, anyone working in deafness? Children with this, deaf children, maybe? Anyone? Can someone? Do we have Thailand, Philippines, please. Philippines. Yes. Ursula, do you want to volunteer? You want to be the keynote speaker, please? Ursula?
Sure. Hold on.
Yes, thank you. Did you switch on your video? I'm looking for you. Okay, now I see you. All right. Anyone? One more person from Thailand? From Philippines. Do we have Philippines? Yeah, we have many from Philippines. Someone? I'll call out names. We're running out of time. Can we have Jeffrey? Jeffrey, are you there? Or you gone? Hello, you there? Joyce, maybe? Or maybe Benjamin? Yes, who is that? Cannot hear you. Or maybe anyone from Malaysia? Can we have Nora maybe? Or Rawaida, do you want to try? Who is that? I cannot see because there's so many of you. Speak up. Nora, I'm going to choose you. Add spotlight. Okay, please unmute. Unmute. All right, thank you very much. So we have another situation. This is actual situation when I was in a conference. It's an international conference in deaf education. So the speaker was actually talking about the speaker, the keynote speaker. They were just sharing evidences, and then suddenly we've got people from the floor standing up, and then just express. Let's hear. 3, 2, 1. Who's the keynote speaker? Maybe Ursula can be the keynote speaker.
Sure.
Yeah, all right. 3, 2, 1, action.
Cochlear implants have improved the quality of spoken language for deaf children. They can now hear spoken language at an early age, establish proficient speech, and so participate in mainstream classrooms.
Okay, I am offended by the presentation. Sign language is the right of all deaf people. It should be promoted instead of speech. Dr. Farah, you're mute.
Thank you. Where was I? Thank you for presenters, for our keynote speaker and our participant. Don't switch off first, because I want to hear your reflection on this matter. Maybe Ursula, you want to share? What's your you're a teacher of the deaf?
I'm teaching the deaf students.
All right. What's your opinion about this matter?
Okay, so I've been teaching the deaf students for quite some time. So my opinions regarding the cochlear implants is actually, it's more it does help some of the deaf students, but most of my deaf students, they don't really like to use these cochlear implants. They don't feel comfortable with it, so they always prefer using sign languages. And I also have some friends who are also deaf, and most of the time they always promote sign languages regardless of using cochlear implants and everything. So this is what I can comment regarding on this matter. Yeah.
Okay, I think you need to open the door.
Yeah, got it.
All right, thank you very much for the reflection. And Nora, do you want to share something? Maybe it's difficult because it's not your area, isn't it? But your opinion about having rights. Maybe as a speaker, for example, maybe.
Okay, sorry, Dr.
Maybe just if somebody come to you and then say.
Oh, maybe they can use both. I mean, sign language, and you can speak as well. Is it?
All right, thank you very much. So I'm gonna remove from spotlight just so that we can to the next. All right, this is very complex. Yeah, it's very contested. Those who are, oh no, my internet connection is unstable. I got a notification says my internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me well? Is it good?
Yes, yes. Can hear you clearly.
Okay, right. I'm just checking. Okay. In deafness, yeah, this is the most contested argument, whether or not the child should be signing or should speak. You know, it's sensitive because the deaf adult have been struggling to learn how to speak during their time. So when they are adults, they thought, no, okay, this is not going to work because at school we are struggling to hear with our hearing aids or even cochlear implants, and therefore sign language is the right of all deaf children. But evidences have said those technologies 20 years ago is so much different from the technology that we have today. Meaning that the child can be identified on the day that the child is born. Meaning that we have newborn baby screening, newborn hearing screening. At the age of 1, the child we know, we will be able to identify that the child is deaf, 1 day old. Yeah. So as soon as we know that the child is deaf, we can give or we can provide intervention. Intervention means not just about cochlear implant. It also include sign language. If you want to teach the baby sign as early as possible, because with deaf children, their main issues is communication. They have problem with language acquisition, because only at the age of 4, people identify, oh, the child is deaf. Can you imagine at the age of 4 what a child can actually speak? So if only at the age of 4 we said, oh, this child need to be supported, you know, the child has already left behind 4 years. In fact, more, because we start develop our hearing in the womb. In the womb, 20 weeks, 14 to 20 weeks, we start listening things in our mom's tummy, in the tummy. So when we hear things, the brain, stimulate the way our brain develops. So now, only recently, we have more research in terms of neuroscience of how deaf children's brain development is different from those who can hear. Yeah. So this is complex issues. It's not just about being able to hear or not being able to hear. It involves family. It involves community. For example, the deaf community, they want to preserve the sign language. If everyone starts speaking, maybe they thought, oh, we're going to lose this sign language because if we stop the child from using. So a whole bunch of issues. I don't think we have much time for another example. We can. Maybe we don't need another actress. I'm just gonna share it. Another issue is about inclusion. Okay, just a quick one. So we have a researcher. This is a deafness researcher. Yeah, it's not deafness. The research being done on deaf children, but I think it applies to all types of disabilities. Almost all, not all. So the deaf children are only learning to communicate. So for example, in this research, the deaf child attends school at the age of 7. Yeah. So only then the child learn how to sign, because at home nobody knows if the child is born deaf. The parents are not deaf. Yeah. So the parents don't know how to sign. Nobody. Okay. Deafness is a low incidence, meaning that there are not many. If you look around you, there are not many deaf people. Deaf people is a low incidence disability compared to learning disability, for example. Yeah. As a result, you find it hard to find someone who can actually teach you sign language. Therefore, the child will only learn to sign when they attend school. Yeah. So the issue here is that the teachers are teaching so much, but maybe they forgot that the child has no language, zero language. The teachers need to go as low as possible, but sometimes the teacher training doesn't prepare the teachers like this. But there's also argument in the inclusion activists. This is similar to the issue of the first issue. They fight your recommendation risks segregating, meaning that you're separating the child from the society and the families. For example, if the child starts going special school, and special school is not in the family's area, normally is in a city, so the child have to be sent in boarding school at the age of 7. Can you imagine leaving your child 7 years old, managing their own clothes? Can you do that? I don't know, but if it's necessary. So those are the questions, the complex questions in special education. Not just deafness. If we were to have special school, sometimes these children have to be removed from their society, meaning that the child have to be in a different state, speaking a different language. If they're not speaking, this is their learning experience. Yeah. If they are in boarding school for many years, they might not catch the family's language. So when they go back, the family can't speak to them. For example, sign language. If the child is communicating beautifully, no problem with that. But when they go back, when they go back, the family doesn't sign. They're left behind. This is the issues now, pandemic, with the deaf children. For those who are teaching deaf children, parents don't know how to sign. How, when we do online teaching, we're not there to help them sign. So who is helping the child at home? So it's difficult. Okay, and there's no an easy answer. So we got 10 more minutes. A recap. What have we explored so far? We're finishing now, almost. What have we explored so far? So much, I think. I've spoken too much. Anyone? You can chat. You can write. I know some family members are at home. It can be noisy. It's fine. You can just write it down. Anyone want to share? What have you what's your intake? Intake? Is that right? What's your what do you understand? Don't have to be many. Just 1 or 2 points.
Okay.
Yes, A.
That I that recaps from that we learned previous, right? I that recapped like the different of spatial education research. That like the first one, the complex, all right, and what else like the multiple of children with disability. I that recap too. And then sensitivity topics, because like we did do research with human, like because the children we should concern the human. And then what else? Okay, I just recap something like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, A, for your sharing. Yes, it's very important in special education field. We are being sensitive and understand the difficulties that other people are experiencing.
Yeah, we should focus like on the human rights. It's a really important.
I am reading chat. There is someone, Naim from Pahang shared. Reading with questions have to be specific and clear on how to measure. That's very good. Yes, a reminder for everyone when we read something. Ask questions. Is this good? Is this not good? Like, can I trust this? Be critical, like, because especially nowadays on Facebook, there's so much information, and you tend to like, oh, sounds legit, like, oh, I need to believe it. Be careful, because is this based on evidence? Especially with the vaccine thing, it's not okay to just accept, even if everybody says this, look for information, ask questions, ask the experts who knows better. Sometimes when you hear too much opinion, you tend to not realize because whatever you listen to become you. You know, it goes inside. Critical thinking, improve writing skills, defining, identifying. Yes, that's good. I'm glad that you are able to kind of know there's difference, yeah, academic writing and a normal writing, not normal, just descriptive writing. The issues related to academic writing regarding special education. Special education is very pivotal and everybody should be advocate of change. Very good, Philippine case. Change by doing research that will benefit our learners with special education needs. Yes, the most important thing is us becoming the voice of our children and the family. As I said before, there's not many people who doing special education, you know. If we don't fight for them, who do you think will? You know, we are minorities. Yeah, advocation, empowerment, not just us, we also empower themselves to raise their rights. Okay, fundamentals of academic writing, we have to be accurate, stating facts, improve writing. All right, that's good. Final point. I have not really assignment. Please scan if you have. It's a Google form where I would appreciate if you could. This is so university, right? You got assignment. Please take a picture of an object. Yeah, an object. Again, I repeat, an object. That represents academic writing to you. It should not be a text. It should not be a word or a person. An object. Why? Because academic writing is a concept, an abstract concept. You know, you can say that this is, you can say that this is a pen, a pen. You can see pen. But academic writing, I would argue, it's not just text. It's about understanding of writing academically. Okay, so let's look at the form. Oh no, give me a second. I need to close this, stop share. 2 minutes. Hold on, share. Everyone's good? Any questions so far? You have no question. You understand very well. So it's if for those who have opened it, it's actually, or maybe I should copy the link to. Maybe I should. I'll do it later. Yeah, give me a second. I call it exit ticket. You just have to write your name. It doesn't have to be your real name. It can be a nickname. Doesn't matter. Or if you prefer, I can take that as a participation email, just so that I can ask you more. This is just 3 questions for me to be better. Okay. And then what's important is this part. An object. So let's say you think ruler means, you think academic writing can be referred to ruler. So you say, why do you think ruler? Because what? It doesn't have to be an essay, just short answer. All right, are we good? Any questions? Where? Oh, let me, it's supposed to be in the, stop share. It's supposed to be in the last slide. Let me share again. Maybe you missed it just now. Let me paste here. Okay, you got the link on the chat. Thank you for those who have shared. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I accidentally clicked on the wrong person. I don't know who's that. Okay, everyone. Bit to exit day 1. Okay. Let me share screen again. This one. Please take a picture. You can either scan it if you have a scanner. Okay. There's a scanner. You can scan. Okay. It's not compulsory, but it'll be helpful. We're gonna do some reflection from these activities. Okay. All right, just take a few take-home messages. It's not really messages. I think some of the key takeaways, I would say. When a claim is made, it should be backed up by reasons, and these reasons must be based on some form of evidences. It's not just easy claim. And then second point is about reading with questions take time. Read more. So in order for you to have a prior knowledge, it's important to be able to assess, for you to be able to assess whether or not this is correct or not. How do you know? By reading. Okay. And then the third point is being able to identify good writing is necessary to produce your own good writing. If you don't know that what you write is good or not, then you will have difficulties to write because you don't know what's good. So it's what's good or what's not so good. The most important thing, I think, towards the end, we have several arguments. Yeah. So the questioning and challenging of practices must never slip out of the overall aim and purpose of education. Whatever we're doing, we go back to the question: why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Is this helpful for the child? Is this manageable? Can we sustain? Can we maintain this approach? So that's all for today. I'm just going to introduce you to another website, which is Padlet. Yeah, Padlet is an app. Oh gosh, what is it? Padlet. You, for those who need to scan, I'll share this link. Yeah. It's a website where you can paste. It's quite cool. I don't know if everyone have ever used it. I find it very cool. I'll show you in a minute. If you want to look, I will save the resources for this workshop on this Padlet. Yeah, this one. Academic writing for workshop. You can, I think you can access it through the link I just pasted. Padlet.com KFK1 because somebody else has stolen KFK. / academic writing SEAMEO SEN. It's a long name, but it's fine. On day one, we have this topic, and I'll paste my what do you call this thing? PowerPoint on the website. I'm sure the tomorrow we'll paste the workshop for tomorrow. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Yes.